So I gave you little previews of today's lesson, one last week and one yesterday, where we are going to take some words that describe and change them a little bit so that they describe differently. So we talked yesterday about adding an to something when we're comparing two things. We talked about how you add est to the end of a word when you're comparing more than two things, right? So I have the word silly up here. Silly is a word that describes something. But what if I were saying, oh, that's sillier, or she's sillier than him? What would that look like? And I did a little lesson on this last week just to get you guys started. Remember we said we have to get rid of this Y? All right, so if I'm turning it to sillier, that Y is going to turn into, do you remember what letter? An I. And then I'll add my So the Y is going to turn into an I. So if I'm comparing two things or people or whatever, you would use the ending. But what if I say the dog is silliest of all? Well, once again, we're going to drop that Y, turn it into an I, and add the est ending. So here we go. The beginning is going to be the same. So S-I-L-L. Now I'm going to change the Y into an I, and I'm going to use the est ending. So if I'm just saying that something is silly, I'll just use the word silly. If I'm comparing two things and saying one is sillier than another, then I would use the ending. And if I was comparing more than two things, then I would use that est ending. So now let's take a look at the word angry. So I could describe someone as being angry, right? But if I was saying that there are two people who are really angry and one is angrier than the other, so I want to use that word angrier, I'm going to change the Y into an I. All right, so let's write the beginning of that word. So A-N-G-R, and now the Y is going to turn into an I, and then I'll add that ending. Angrier. Believe it or not, that's a word. Doesn't that sound funny? But if I was saying, ooh, but she was the angriest of all of them, well, I'm going to use that est ending. So I'm going to use my A-N-G-R, but instead of writing the Y, I'm going to write an I, and then est. Angriest. All right, so let's see. Today you guys are on page 169. And I'll take a look. It says, my glue is, you have to think about it. Okay, so am I just describing it? So should I use the base word? Am I comparing two things? Should I use the word? Or am I comparing it to a whole lot of things and use the est? Well, my glue is blank. I think I just need the base word, right? So it says sticky or stickier. You'll go ahead and circle sticky. My glue is sticky because I'm not comparing it to anything there. I'm just describing it as sticky. The next one. That chick is the blank of all, okay? So they're implying that there's a lot of chicks, okay? So fluffy or fluffiest. Which one are you going to circle? Fluffiest. because you're comparing it to many things. So you'll go ahead and circle that one. You'll do that for the whole page. Okay, guys? I'll see you later.